Good afternoon, everyone. It gives me pleasure to be part of this fourth annual e-conference, and I'll be talking around role of financial inclusion in the digital age. Why financial inclusion by household, businesses, and governments? That's the question begging for answer. Government, business, and ordinary folks alike are increasingly convinced of the importance of financial inclusion. How it's going to impact macroeconomic growth and inequality often remain ambiguous and even confusing. We need clarity on how financial inclusion is linked to economic growth and income distribution, which is very important. Also more critical is the reason for formulating effective public policies for maximizing social welfare. And this is the reference is Quantify Macroeconomic Impact of Financial Inclusion by Yuval Edric Wong, May 2015. We quickly move on to the background. The work we did on financial inclusion is looking at the role of financial inclusion, importance of digital innovation in driving financial inclusion, and the place and effect of technology. We'll start with an overview. Financial services, traditional or contemporary, are the mainstay of any nation, empowering families and businesses alike to spend and save money, whether at micro levels, invest and protect themselves against exigencies or uncertainties. In many emerging economies today, the majority of individuals and small businesses lack access to even basic savings and credit products, which hinders economic growth and perpetual poverty. McKinsey and Company stated this in 2016. Financial inclusion, as I said earlier, drives and deepens financial system. It is an important role to play in stimulating socio-economic growth, development, and poverty. Now, coming to digital innovation and technology, this is central to driving financial inclusion. These have transformed traditional payments. Today, the use of digital financial services by previously excluded household and business brings not only benefits but also risk due to the path or characteristics of a typically poor customer. We'll quickly move on to statistics globally. Financial inclusion in emerging economies, South America and Asia. Mobile payment solutions are driving financial inclusion in South America by over 60%. Over 60% of the adult population in South America, they do not have a bank account. So financial exclusion is actually not limited to Africa. It extends to South America. Also, a percentage of population age 15 plus that has bank accounts, that's what we have indicated on the chart. It keeps going down. Both Brazil and Peru introduced new regulation to encourage mobile payments last year. India also joined the UN's Better Than Cash Alliance, with 175 million accounts being opened. We quickly now move to my country, Nigeria. Italy, banks worldwide included the poor in their service offering simply because the cost to serve the poor is high, and most commercial institutions will look at their bottom line, whether it is what the cost to income ratio is something that has to be considered by any bank before they can actually take any decision. So they therefore focus on new customers, the unbanked, and until recently, there is need for us to focus on them. These segments have been mostly ignored by the service providers, just like what I have said. Typically, they have poor credit ratings. They don't have the required documentation that a typical bank will need for them to be given any form of credit, no matter how low. Nigeria has experienced growth in financial inclusion. However, international agencies such as Bill and Melinda Gates, UNICEF, World Bank have initiated various initiatives which I have been privileged to be a part of in the last 3 or 5 years. Banks now experience increased bank accounts, especially first-year accounts with basic know your customer requirements. The place of mobile technology in financial inclusion quickly. Mobile technology upon which digital financial services rides on has brought succor to many households and businesses in several emerging economies. A very good example is the disbursement of funds to voluntary polio workers in upper northern states of Nigeria, an area that is mostly invaded by terrorist action up until late last year. My organization was able to disburse money to over 8,000 women, rural women, stark illiterate, via their phones. These 8,000 women were able to access financial services over their phones, and they graduated to having basic minimum KYC to qualify for savings accounts in my organization. What we have done is to bring them on board. These over 8,000 women are now proud account owners by virtue of the opportunity for disbursement of funds through UNICEF. For instance, mobile technology continues to play a central role in addressing a range of social and economic challenges in West Africa. The purpose of this research was to build from that story, that experience, and the continued penetration of mobile devices in the sub-region of Africa will not only improve the livelihoods of the vulnerable households, such as the women that I stated their example, but will also stimulate them to save monies that would have been spent on items that are not necessarily needed. For the vulnerable and marginalized groups around the world, especially Africa, where over 60% of its population resides in the rural, mobile telephony is the first step to inclusive participation in the connected economy and society. Mobile technology will address some of these income inequalities in Africa. And so we move forward to also say, according to KPMG in its publication on understanding the value proposition of fintechs in Nigeria, innovation and technology have brought about a radical change in the traditional financial services. The world, indeed Africa, has seen the emergence of more than 12,000 startups and massive global investment of $19 billion in 2015 in the fintech space. This figure has actually doubled in 2016 and 2017. Fintechs have been active across the value chain of the Nigerian banking space and financial services institution. Why is this happening? Because the fintechs, they are low cost. They do not need any infrastructure to run a digital financial services to the financially excluded. And this has helped them to be able to scale up very fast. Fintechs have rejoined the community financial services landscape and blurring the lines that define players in the sector. They are offering suite from competing financial services such as alternative lending. Now, the financial excluded can have access to microloans over their phones within a short period of time with minimum requirements to qualify. To additive solutions atop existing banking services. They enable technologies for the bank themselves. My organization, a big financial institution in Nigeria, we partner with some fintechs for us to be able to reach the last mile. Capitalizing on the latest mobile, cloud and digital technologies in Nigeria is increasingly becoming home to many fintech firms who are trying to shake up and be accessible to the banking value chain. This is PricewaterhouseCoopers in the 2017 papers. Financial institutions, banks, microfinance, mobile network operators, and third-party providers such as original equipment manufacturers, OEMs, are leveraging penetration of mobile phones, point-of-sale terminals, together with networks of mobile money agents to offer basic financial services at greater convenience, scale, and affordable price than what traditional banking will offer. Moving swiftly forward, strategic financial inclusion will result in the following: reduce poverty, general well-being of citizens, especially the very poor and low-income earners. Our experience in the northern region of Nigeria for 13 months disbursing almost £1 billion to over 8,000 women demonstrated this fact. Extending basic financial services to the underserved will culminate in socio-cultural transformation of their local. Those rural women had no hope of holding an account in a financial institution, but by virtue of digital financial services, they are proud operators of accounts in a financial institution. Inclusive participation leading to investment from deliberate savings, which would have ordinarily been spent on things that are not needed by the households. Third, decent work and economic growth resulting from expanded local investment and employment. One of the major problems in rural settlements is emerging economies are disorganized financial systems. Of course, gender equality in most cultures, women are seen as mere helps and are denied access to public appearance gathering. With the example in northern Nigeria, the women came to the fore, they were able to account for themselves and their finance. Industry and financial providers is the last point. Innovation and infrastructures, technology providers, these are the instigators and drivers of financial inclusion. We quickly touch on factors that limit financial inclusion growth. low level of disposable income. The poor, if they don't have anything to spare, they spend whatever they have on themselves. This limitation has immense effects on inclusive participation of the underserved. Sociocultural complexity are also a major factor limiting financial inclusion. Most cultures in Nigeria and some African parts limit public presence of the female folks. Proximity to the location of financial services. Most of the underserved live in remote locations where vehicular mobility is limited or non-existent. Low level of literacy about financial products and services. Nigeria being Africa's most populous country with an estimated population of over 180 million, and out of 96.4 million adults, only 40 million, represented 41.6%, are financially excluded. This is by EFINA Access to Financial Inclusion Survey 2016. The proportion of Nigerian adults with access to formal and informal financial services shrunk marginally from 60.4% in 2014 to 58.5% in 2016. Just a slight reduction in appeal and coverage of informal services. This is by EFINA Access to Financial Inclusion Survey still. The high cost of building and operating brick and mortar bank branches has been a major obstacle for extending financial services to the poor or low-income householders. An example of African innovation in the provision of financial inclusive products. We hear of M-Pesa in Kenya. This has radically changed the mindset that financial services, financial inclusion is only for the rich. GSMA approximately 255 mobile money services were operating across 89 countries in 2014. They are now accessible in more than 60% of developing markets. There are other banks also that have used digital innovation to extend basic financial services. An example is my organization that I mentioned earlier. Now, in conclusion, from the examples we have given, it can be concluded that innovative and creative developments, mainly in the area of digital technology and telecoms, are steadily increasing the way businesses are conducted in Africa and other parts of the underdeveloped world. With increasing threats of fintechs, Nigerian banks are now left with no choice but to innovate or die, with the associated requirement to invest in these innovations and technologies for the provision of payment systems that are in sync with the demands of the electronically interconnected global market space. Also, it is evident that digital financial services has the potential to expand the delivery of platform. Hence, the implementation and adoption of various forms of innovation have greatly influenced the content and quality of banking operations. Thank you.